Get the flash out of Crims is trying to trade back with Silver, who's taking a lot of minion aggro. The flash forward, there's the ignite, and Slowbro barely picking up that kill with a sliver of HP remaining. A lot of waiting. Build the pony does pop the ultimate. They're going straight onto Yon, who's getting bursted down. The culling is popped, and bye Syndra. Hail Blades isn't going to help you here. Riri there from Utility Monster to dodge that. There's the Malphite ulti into the Galio, and they pick up their first kill already, but it is low health bars for Yubi there. Red able to regen back up, or Riri is taken very low. There's the play from Civlock to grab the kill, but now Slowbro hitting targets. There's room for respawns coming through here. First one does not happen as all those kills are on Utility Monster, it seems. Slowbro right on top of the Menace himself and picks up the kill. Triple stun barely missing there from Yon. The flash is in, and they do get onto Jeff Gamer. The cleanse is burnt early. He can walk away from that. That Paranoia is burnt to peel off his ADC, and Ariri's taken low first. Now there's the engage from Red on the backline. Slowbro forced to flash away. Yon trying to keep the Utility Monster off him as best he can. The Q picks up the kill. There's no Paranoia to try to get any sort of follow-up right now. It's 4v5. Ariri flashing forward. Unable to grab that spell. Right when the flash comes away. Huge, unstoppable force for Red. Seabrog on the back line is going to be brought down by the combined efforts of Yubi. And now that Paranoia is finally back. The Blue Ward assisting Utility Monster's way into the back line right now. Slowbro, half HP. Utility Monster falling a lot slower. That is a 500 gold shutdown on that Akshan. And Yon, you have Hail and Blades. Welcome back, everyone. Final game of the day. Trickle down economics versus pandas with hats. Kind of, in the last game we had kind of top of the table versus bottom of the table. This one is kind of second versus eighth, I think would be fair to say. I'm not totally sure. My name is Escape, and I'm joined once again by the lovely Raptor.
Yeah, and I think it's more like second versus seventh. I think.
What did I say?
You said eighth.
Is it? It's not eighth. Last one was eighth.
All has solidly locked eighth place. But yeah, I think this is gonna be a fun matchup. I love watching these teams play, especially I like watching Pandas. I think they're a team that's so close to being able to push much higher up the rankings. They just need to find that something that cohesion that finally pushes them over that point and pushes them into being a top team.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they can find it today against TDE.
Yeah, TDE is a team that I think is full of strong members, right? Zen leaves, Mizuza, Ultravox, Bob Joseph. When you think of the roles that these people are playing, Bob Joseph, arguably the best support in the league. Leaves, arguably the best jungler in the league. Mizuza, Ultravox, Zenza, no slouches by any stretch of the imagination. I would say all top four in their role. individually they do some amazing stuff, and it's why this team has had so much success. You swing over to the other side, Dr. Schmeckles has this really weird consistent history of pulling off some crazy stuff. I feel like Think That I Can and Hubes consistently outperform themselves. And Voltaic Penguin and Super Ashi are starting to come into their own. We've seen a little bit more success out of them recently. We saw a very good showing against NWT. That game did end up swinging in the favor New Wave Tsunami. They did not pick up that second win versus the Org. Meanwhile, Ash, first lock for Ultravox. Now, have seen this coming up a little bit more often for Ultravox. This Ash has been a popular pick, I think, since the buffs. You know, she's always been kind of close to being very good. Since we've gotten those buffs in, her W's a bit more spammable. Her ultimate is actually a lot easier to hit. It's noticeable. She's a very strong late game. She's very strong in lane. She's got a small hole in the mid game, I would say, but overall very strong pickup. Meanwhile, the Volibear locked in for, I assume, Think That I Can.
Yeah, and even in that, and again, like you said, even in that hole in the mid lane, she still has the ultimate. She could still be effective. She could still set plays for everyone else to get them going in that position. So I think it's a really safe pick. Even if it doesn't have the mobility, you've got the vision, you've got the CC, you've got the ability to poke. And Xayah, you know, it's also another good kind of poke champion, you know, with her little Q and pulling the feathers back. I do like to watch it. I think it's also a very safe AD carry that kind of deals really well with Ash. As long as you aren't surprised by the arrow, like at point blank, you can fairly easily dodge it with the ultimate.
Yeah, and Xayah is a champion that we've seen a lot more in pro play, but obviously pro teams have rolled over to that 12.5 patch that we've all been playing on for the last month or so, finally. And we're seeing it really affect the drafts. We're seeing some ADCs go a lot later into the draft. We're seeing less priority on that kind of Jinx, Aphelios Zeri bubble that we saw for so long. It's funny how often drafts are dependent you know, on pro play here. Obviously, we're playing a patch ahead 99% of the time from pro players. And as a result, you know, it's a lot of mimicking and whatnot, and maybe playing a little bit late, and those teams who are able to develop that stuff a little bit quicker have found some advantages in the past. Meanwhile, though, Xayah, like you say, strong option. Mezuzah gets the Kale. That is fun to me. Zenzen, it looks like, also going to be picking up that Scion for the top lane. That's a very comfort pick. Mezuzah, I have been told, goes into every single draft, regardless of the situation, and says, yeah, we could run Kale here. You know, it's just one of those picks that they feel really, really confident on. I'm excited to see it come through. I promise you that's going into the mid lane. I don't see anywhere else where that one could be going right now. A lot of damage picked up initially by trickle-down economics. They have that big front line. I'm interested to see. I'm expecting a supportive jungler out of Leaves and probably some sort of enchanter out of Bob Joseph. We will see, as though the Rumble picked up very late here. Is that going to be locked in for Hubes or Schmeckles? I wonder. That's an interesting pickup.
I think it's going to be for Hubes, but we have seen him in the past play the Rumble. He's very good at it. I think that's definitely going there. So top lane is still going to be on the table for Pandas, but it could be flex. So that's the thing about it. Rumble is a very good flex pick here. It's going to keep TDE on their toes. They're going to have to choose one of the roles that they think it's not and try to ban it. And if, you know, Pandas ends up in a situation where like, we don't really like what got banned, just flex it up. Cool. Now you've made them waste their bans and you can go pick something else there. The Shaco ban, a little odd. I wouldn't expect to see a Shaco, honestly, in this game.
I think Bob Joseph has played at support previously. I know that we've had a support Shaco, and I feel like it was TDE that pulled it off. Maybe I'm wrong. We definitely have seen that. The Karma taken away there from Subarashi, very strong pickup. She really can play well in 3 lanes right now. She's has a lot of power in that bot lane, has a lot of control in the mid lane and the top side. She's got a lot of variation. She's just a very strong champion at the moment. I think that's a reasonable ban to take away. And Pandas with Hats really taking their time on this one. They want to make sure they poke away things that they're afraid of. Leaves has shown the Kayn recently, as recent as against Yubi. Had a very good showing. Looks like it's going to be the Lilia taken away. A little bit of uncertainty right now. It is going to be that Lilia taken away. Very high-paced jungler. And something a little bit more supportive, like I was saying, you know, has that sleep online. And that's going to be the double ban going into Subarashi's. Pandas probably going to want to protect their support player here.
Yeah, I mean, I have an idea of what I would like to see for the support. I've been hearing rumblings of it the last couple of weeks. Have you heard of the Nasus support?
I sure have. I haven't seen it yet.
I really want to see it. I think it would be. These comps I don't think are kind of built for it. You need really heavy AD comps, I think, to really take advantage of it. I mean, the set is always a good option for that. Also, another flex pick and flex at top or support. But it would be cool. It would be really cool to see. It is really strong. The armor pen on the E is a little insane, and the slow on the W. Actually, the slow on the W might be really good in this situation. You can prevent Ashe and Kale from being able to get away at all. and make it really easy for the Volibear and the Rumble ult to land. So it might be actually, the more I think about this, actually might be a good composition for them. And the Kayn coming out from TDE, leaves, like you said, we've seen him pretty effectively on it, so it's a good pickup. I think it might have a little bit of a hard time in this matchup with some very beefy members for Pandas. Even Rumble gets a little beefy for a mage, so not sure.
Yeah. We've seen it on Red Kayn previously for Leaves. Leaves has gone for that more CC, that tankiness, being very difficult to kill. No way Bob Joseph is going to take the Bard on that last pick. I love it. Leave that Ashe, get some vision, and get your jungler in there to go and cause problems right now. As if it is that Volibear, Volley wins on the stat stick most of the time. Is that big, has those base damages online, has a lot of access to things, and it is going to be, I presume, the Rel picked up here, which is going to finish this compound. Obviously, there was room for that to be set support, so I wasn't totally sure where everyone was going, but it looks like it's just going to be Rel, Xayah picked up. It's going to be Volley in the jungle. I'm guessing that set is moving into the top lane for Dr. Schmeckles. And yeah, you know what? You throw that Volibear in the jungle, it's just trying to clear, and you toss a Kayn and a Bard and anything else on top of it. It's going to start to cause problems. Think That I Can has always played very active in that early game. Has been a huge driving force for that team. Might be under a little bit of pressure this game. Bob Joseph on that Bard. I am looking forward to it.
Yeah, I love watching a Bard. I think one of the best parts about it is that with this Ashe, they can very easily rotate just a little bit out of lane and can be effective. Or actually, they don't have to rotate, but Bard can rotate a little bit. And they can still impact other lanes with their ultimates. So they've got good pick setup. They've got a good ability to be able to assist their teammates if they get into a bad situation on the sides. And I think the onus here is on Pandas. I think if TDE gets to the late game, this is going to be a nightmare. Kale is a absolute monster in the late game, and Kayn, as he gets later, he's going to be a pain. Sion's going to be too beefy. Yeah, it's a very PWE is on a timer, I think. Yeah. I question the Rel pick a little bit, honestly.
I have a lot to say about the Rel pick.
Yeah, I'd like to hear what you like to say.
Yeah, okay. So Rel as a champion has fallen out of the meta. She was very, very prevalent when she first came out. Obviously, they've taken a bit of time off of the E. She lost half of her stun duration there. Not that it was long in the first place. It's mainly just set up tools. Hold on, I'm not going to get a chance to say that. Think That I Can. Caught out half HP right now on that Volibear. As Hughes is going to just try and toss out those slows. I don't think there's going to be anything more made of that one right now. Dr. Schmeckle's trying to take a trade right now on the top side. With Zenzen, who misses the crushing blow of the Q. But no, back onto the topic of Subarashi and that Rel. Rel fell out of the meta because people started to learn that, hey, Rel tries to go in on you at level 2, burn your flash. It's fine, because she dies. Every single time she dies. If she does not make that engage work anytime that she goes for it, she dies. No matter what. She doesn't have the tankiness if she dismounts, and she doesn't have the movement speed. She doesn't have the tankiness if she's dismounting for the W, and if she's remounting with the W, she doesn't have the shield, right? Yeah. They're caught there on the movement speed, you're caught there on the tankiness, doesn't matter. That is so much more obvious when you have an Ashe slowing you nonstop. If any engage from Subarashi goes awry, Subarashi will die in this lane. Every single time. I am very interested to see how the bot side of Pandas with Hats is going to play this, because there's so much punish there. Miss Fortune's not a very mobile champion. There's the immediate engage. Subarashi's going to run into a lot of problems here. So it's just going to get kited back. Ultravox is going to continue this chase. Look at how much damage you take for free. And I think that could be a reoccurring trend in this lane right now. Dr. Schmeckle's taking a big trade in this top side.
Yeah, that's we have kind of the inverse issue on the top side, where I think Sion is not very great early on into set. I don't even think later on he's that good into him, because set's all just going to, it's just a hard counter. So I feel like both these lanes kind of counter each other in a way. On the bottom side, I feel like it's the side of TDE countering PWH, and on the top side, it's the inverse. So this is kind of fun to see. I think it kind of plays to where these teams have their strengths at. PWH is honestly, I think one of their biggest strengths has been their top side. Schmeckles has been very engaged.
Engage is found. It's already low HP on Bob Joseph. The Ignite is ticking. He's going to fall if he can't get out of there in time. The heal is burnt. Now Ultravox trying to have to play defensive here, getting out of that minion wave. Voltaic Penguin took so much damage from that minion wave as well, but it is just going to be flash burnt. All sums traded for the side of PWH and not finding that kill into Bob Joseph.
Yeah, and they just got a heal and a flash of it. So the flash still there for the Ashe and the Ignite too. So if they get a pick onto Voltaic, in soon. Like it could be a pretty quick, easy kill. And see the poke coming through. But yeah, like you were saying, like if the W goes well, good pick. You can get a lot of damage out in cases like that. But if you got to make that work every time. Like you said, if it doesn't work, it's a dead Rel. Yeah, the Rel's going to be dead, especially as items start coming online. Rel's not, she's a support, obviously. She's not going to get a lot of tankiness in this game as, say, like Volibear is or Set. So she's got to keep Super Rashi's got to keep making these work. If they don't, goodbye. Goodbye there. Goodbye to Zaya.
This is not a good trade for Schmeckles right now. It's going to eat a lot of minion aggro. That Grit is building up from the top side. Just drop it down. I say that. Hold on. We reappear and see. Zenzen's taking a big chunk of damage from that set. Trade does come back. The level advantage is there. Meanwhile, Hube's in this mid lane just trying to bully off this Kale. And you know what? Mazusa's kind of living with it right now. There's not much of a CS diff in that mid lane. Has been able to pick up all that XP so far, and it's going to really be on to think that I can to try and get that Kale out of lane. The Ignite has not been popped yet for Hubes. I think Mazusa's going to have the opportunity to just recall TP right now. Schmeckles continuing the fight on the top side, does have that level disadvantage, burns the flash a little bit late there, doesn't get to bring the W with him. Zenzen getting that disengage off, and Dr. Schmeckles appears to be trying to add another one to the kill count in that top lane, just going for that solo kill. Doesn't quite pick it up on a bit of a mechanical misexecution, but it's looking good for that set right now.
Yeah, I think he's trying to do the W flash to move the shield and punch to get that hit. If he had, I think that would have been over for Zen. Yeah, it'd been done for Zenzen. But they at least burns the counter flash back. He gets the teleport out of Zenzen too, so he does have teleport advantage in case they need to get into another lane real quick. But what you were saying about taking the aggro in the wave, I actually think that's good for Schmeckles because it builds up the grit, so it allows him to get to his shield and the big punch that much quicker. And he's got the health regen on his passive, so it's fine. You can take that kind of trade.
Ooh, speaking of trades, Hubes nearly on that overheat there. That Flame Spitter does so much if you eat the whole thing. Mazusa chunking in that damage right now. Only 2 daggers picked up for that kill on the recall compared to the blasting one for Hubes. That is a big deficit right now. The Electrocute compared to that PTA as well. And it looks like Mazusa's kind of struggling right now. Dr. Schmeckles trying to take this trade. Hasn't picked up any items. Good block there with the W. He's going to continue to chase. And you know what? Zenzen, you're talking about that TP advantage. Schmeckles has already evened up the health bars and is still yet to burn it.
Yeah, look at that. Just so little health is still able to make the trades. The power of the set, the power of the grit. It's about power, it's about grit.
Here we go again. Very low HP right now, and Schmeckles Zenzen knowing to respect it. It's already low, and Zenzen falls to Dr. Schmeckles first. Another name added to the list. And Dr. Schmeckles has a space for you.
Dr. Schmeckles showing why he is such a threat, why this set is so good into Scion. And, I thought Zenzen might chase after him, but I don't think he was going to get through that minion wave in time. So good on Schmeckles. Now Zenzen's got to walk all the way back to lane. Schmeckles can just reset. He can teleport if he wants. He doesn't have to. He can just walk all the way back and save that for later. But he's getting a pretty good advantage here. He is now up at CS. He was down for a little bit. I expect when he comes back, he's going to move towards, I think Bork, honestly, would be a good first item here for him. He doesn't really need to start off with the Gorge Ranker. He can just trade him in basic attacks, and that should do pretty fine for right now. I mean, I'm a big fan of Bork on set. Oh, hang on. He's going for another...
Hold on. Level 7 right now on Schmeckles is probably worth more than the items that Zenzen has been able to pick up. There's the ulti online. It's going to bring him a little bit closer to that turret right now. Zenzen can't trade back at all. Dr. Schmeckles! The second solo kill picked up in that top lane. Hard counter in lane. As the game goes later, that's going to be a bigger ultimate for Schmeckles right now, who is dominating this top lane.
You just can't stop the Schmeckles. He's just so good. This has been such a pleasure to watch so far in this matchup. I love that he hasn't backed at all. He's only backed once, and he's still just picking him off. Oh, I'm at quarter health, you're at full? Yeah, I'll just take you anyways. Doesn't matter. I've got the shield. I've got the resistance to be able to stop you. And the rest of the map has been very quiet so far. We've been basically just watching these two the entire time. Nothing else has really been going on. Schmeckles might be staying a little bit long off the plate though. As long as he doesn't hit back, he's fine. But we said that the onus was on PWH to get the ball rolling, and they definitely are, but it's also on TDE to kind of get themselves to late and kind of slow the pace of the game. That's what they really want to do, but so far they have to... Oh, hang on.
Hubes doesn't know that Leaves is there early. Flash to get out of any sort of danger there. I think that's the right call there from Hubes. The ultimate is down. There's no way he's going to be able to trade that one back on his own right now. And you know what? We talked about, get that ball rolling in the top lane right now, and it's really on TDE to just try and survive till late game. Let's look at Mazusa real quick. Dead even in CS, dead even in level right now. There is no discomfort in the mid lane right now for this Kayle, and Hubes seems to be continually pushing in. We haven't seen Think That I Can do anything so far in this mid lane, in this bot lane. Hasn't been able to create any sort of pressure to be able to get this Volibear going. And, you know, Kayn doesn't scale that well, but I think that there's going to be room for Leaves to have a lot more effectiveness unless this Volibear can really bulk up and be very, very tanky, which he can do. Given the opportunity, if he gets enough gold, he can be that strong. But he's not going to clear as fast as Kayn is. As the game goes later, there's going to be less and less to think that I can do to keep up with right now. The Flash is available right now for Mizuzu. I think we'll just be able to get out of there. The ultimate is popped. Flash traded out there for Think That I Can, and you know what? That's worth it for Mizuzu.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, yeah, obviously you have the chance of being dived again. Without Flash, it's kind of harder for Volibear to get onto you. You do have the ability to slow him down. But without that ultimate, though, it is still a tempting target for them to go back. The ult is up for Hubes. It's up for Think as well. So there is a chance to just dive the turret with the ultimate, disable it, and just try to pick off Mizuzu really fast. But they gotta, if they want to do that, they should do it soon. Try to allow this Rumble to, you know, get a little bit of a lead, which, you know, like you were saying, like they're dead even. It's really surprising. Rumble is a really strong lane bully. So to see him still bullying at this Kayle and not getting a really big lead, not keeping them down in CS more than like 3 is, I think, a little bit of a worrying sign. It also could just be like, you know, Mizuzu just plays his champion really well. Like you said, he's always wanting to pick this in every matchup. So
yeah, you know what? Here we go. Dr. Schmeckles once again getting behind Zenzen. There's no way to get that train out of the dodge. And hold on, we're talking about Mizuzu not eating enough pressure. Try and deal with this one, my friend. Super Rashi over the wall, making that play work. Think That I Can is on top of a control ward right now. Looks like Zenzen's just going to not respect it, take that recall. Not too worried about it at the moment. They do see that Volibear on the top lane. But, you know, great play from Pandas. Was really starting to get concerned. Hey, you haven't dealt with that Kayle yet. You should probably do something. You know what? They pick up the assist for Voltaic Penguin and for Subarashi. Kill goes to Hubes. That's going to let that Rumble do a lot more in that mid lane now. The Ignite is still online. Flash was burnt, but there's still that ultimate. And you know what? Mizuzu maybe starting to get a little bit uncomfortable. The Flash is still there, but it can't be happy with that.
Yeah, that's not something you want to see happen. Especially, you know, like that's where in a solo queue game I'd be throwing the question mark pings up like, hey, where's your bot lane? What the hell? Why didn't you tell me you were gone? I didn't see any other notification that they were leaving, at least from the side of them. Oh, hang on. Looks like there's going to be a dive
Here we go. Big play here from Pandas. They're going to dive that turret nice and early. The turret's already switched off. Hubes is going to get a lot of damage in with that Flame Spreader. Another kill picked up. And you know what? They've got that Rift Herald in that top lane. Maybe they're going to try and give some more gold over to one of these solo laners. Really, really strong early game so far from Pandas.
Yeah, this has been a very fantastic early game. Another kill onto the Rumble, so the beefier damage dealers kind of getting what they need. Bottom lane, they're just kind of keeping pace, not giving anything over. I think it's a good position to be in. You can still be effective later in the game. You don't need to get the kills. Zaya's not like a Jinx where she needs to hyper scale. Like, she can still be effective later on. And Dragon, you know, that's going to go over, so at least TDE is getting something out of this, but they lose first turret, they lose so many plays. This set is, he's got to have so much gold. He's got almost double the CS of this Scion. I want to see his gold count. I think he must be getting like at least like a 2,000 gold lead at this point on him.
Yeah, it's getting pretty big. That turret goes down with all the plates on board. Fortunately, Zenzen is going to miss out on the Herald here. A second charge from that Herald makes it very, very worthwhile there, getting the pressure in on that top tower. And it looks like there's going to be a play in the bot side right now. Bob Joseph is caught out, almost killed immediately. The ultimate is having to be burned out there from Mizuzu. Hubes has the Kayn on top of him. He's surrounded by 4 teammates. Leaves, caught a little bit of a problem. Big Ashe ulti plus the Fate's Call to slow down that play, but TDE was on the back foot the whole time. It really looked like it was favoring Pandas with hats, and I have to ask, for those of you who have thrown a bunch of channel points at the side of TDE, how you feeling right now? Build the Pony, 58k sitting in that pool at the moment, and right now this game is looking to favor Pandas. You were talking about the gold on the top side, you're right. More than 2,000 gold in favor of that set right now. Mid lane is looking in favor, bot lane is even enough, and you know what? That Xayah can get very strong in the later stages along with that Ashe. I think that TDE needs to start making some more proactive plays, because right now they're just getting caught.
Yeah, they're just getting caught out, and you know, in that situation, like, it looked like maybe they wanted to fight there, but they burned all 4 ultimates, they burned 2 flashes to get out, they burned an ignite as well. All that came out on the side of PWH was, I think, an ultimate that's already back up. It's a very low cooldown, and ignite and a heal. Like, they didn't really burn too much to get that going for that fight, to just get it close. And I think that's really worrying right now for TDE. We talked about them going into the late game and like just getting to that point, putting PWH on the clock. But the something I'm noticing has a little bit of a problem more and more on this is that a lot of their champions need this scaling. They all need that time. Sion needs the time. Kale needs the time. Needs the time to transform. This is kind of
a... Ooh, engaged from Subarashi. Both flash burn to get out. Now Subarashi has to try and make this walk away. There's the ultimate coming through, blocked by Dr. Schmeckles. And there is the equalizer on top of the damage at the backline. Bob Joseph getting caught out here by the bear. There are bears in these woods, my friend. Bob Joseph having to get the heal there from Ultravox to try and get him out. Good turnaround there. Grabbing that stun on to Think That I Can of Hubes. That is going to be ultimates traded for summoners. That Ashe now with absolutely nothing online. There's room for replay here. And look at this. Panda's committing 5 into this bot side right now to get this turret down. Face call onto 4. I don't think there's going to be any room for an engage right now as the turret platings have gone down. So they save that one for just a moment. Trades coming back in mid and top side right now. Big commitment from Pandas, but they do find that outer turret.
Yeah, Bob, and I think that was just to stop that last play. I think they did stop them from getting the last play before they went down, so at least they stop 150 gold or so. But yeah, they're getting forced off it. They lose another turret on the side. Now mid lane is probably going to be the target for this team, PWH. If they break that open, TDE is going to have a really hard time. I mean, they have the Ashe and the Hawk shots. They can just scout the map that way, but if they want to get any wards out, they've got to go out into the jungle, into the woods to find this bear, find this battle mecha horse thing. Oh, Bob.
Yeah, Bob Joseph getting taken quite low. And, we were talking about how, with a mixture of the Ashe Hawk shots and the magical journeys, we really should see Leaves causing Think That I Can some problems. Leaves clears a lot faster. You have full vision of where Think That I Can is 90% of the time, or at least you should. Bob Joseph should be going and getting wards. Ultravox should be a hawk shot on the other side. Right now, Ultravox just getting caught, I say, as Subarashi, barely on the edge of all of those moves, does not pick up anything there to get that Ashe back in. But, the clears are relatively close right now. Leaves does not have as big of a lead as I think you would be expecting from the Kayn right now. Hasn't gotten that evolution online just yet. And Think That I Can has remained effective. Doesn't have a huge KP, but there's not too many kills in this game at the moment. I think that TDE has kind of failed to play to their comp in the early stages. We'll have to see how they rotate around that in the mid stages as Mizuzu starts to come in, as Zenzen starts to come in, as Ultravox starts to come in. But the more Zenzen scales, the more Dr. Schmeckle starts to do. So it's a little bit of a push and pull there.
Yeah, the power of the power of Sion is the massive amount of health, and the power of Set is turning that health into a battering ram back at his opponent. So, like you said, Zenzen scaling is just going to help out Schmeckles even more, especially if he can't get a really massive lead on him, and Schmeckles is able to get enough health to survive the ultimate. And TDE, they've got to try to find a pick somewhere. They have the Ashe Arrow, and they really haven't utilized it at all this game. I haven't really seen. I think I've seen one fly, maybe one, maybe not even one. So they need to try to utilize that, combine it with the Bartle, and try to just catch someone out. Maybe this Set on the top side, they could maybe kite him out. They're going to lose this dragon. It is Mountain Soul, by the way. I forgot to bring that up earlier. So it is Mountain Soul, which is going to be even better for PWH. Now you're going to have a big shield on the volley, a big shield on the Set and the Rel, make it even harder to take them out when they go in.
I think that TDE, if I may, is playing very, they're playing to scale right now, right? Hold on, that's completely taken away. Subarashi stunned up right now, having to get that disengage. A big equalizer put down a really good spot there, but Subarashi has already fallen. Leaves going right back on top of it. Fate's call. Mizuza's on the side here. Zenzen coming in the big engage, double knock up, and now here comes the chain CC. The damage is over the wall. Should Think That I Can trying to get out of there desperately. Voltaic Penguin trying to save his teammates. Doesn't come through. There's the trade kill found onto Ashe there from Hubes, but it's currently a 3-for-1. And this might be room for TDE to try and find something on the map right now. They have lost their ADC, which gets rid of a lot of their objective taking power. It looks like there's just going to be pressure put into that mid lane. Is there going to be any struggle here from Voltaic Penguin? It's Bob Joseph just kind of clearing out these wards. I think that is going to be mid-turret falling first for TDE.
Yeah, now, TDE finally on the board. They finally get the catch they're looking for. They take out the they take out the Rel. They manage to then grab Hubes and Think That I Can. Just good pick, good gold. Also going on, maybe not everyone they wanted. It goes onto the Kayn, which I guess it is going to help him a little bit there. Just kind of catch back up in terms of getting kind of more ahead. But I think they kind of wanted that more on the Kale. 3 kills on a Kale letter maybe get halfway to her next item could be pretty dangerous. But still, overall good of TDE, showing signs of life is what we've been looking for from them. And PWH, you know, we've seen them in this situation before. Really good early game, kind of making a mistake in the mid game and stumbling and unable to right themselves. We gotta see if they'll continue that, or can they come back from that?
It was a good play. TDE knew that they had their numbers advantage right there. Zen able to get in there with the teleport. I believe maybe just walked down. I wasn't totally keeping track of him, but neither was PWH as they were caught out. That Scion just stuck over the wall. Important thing to note, though, Schmeckles is pretty big. He has not been in that, or he was not in that fight. Was up taking Rift Herald instead. And looks like that Rift Herald's going to come down in the mid lane right now. Maybe they're just going to take it without it. I'm not totally sure right now. They have that sidewave being picked up right now from Voltaic Penguin, so obviously good gold on the board right now for PWH. As they do have that Rift Herald, they can just toss it into the top side. I think it would just instantly kill the turret if they do so. It looks like Schmeck is en route to try and go for that right now. As we have Dragon coming up for 2 minutes 40. We've only got a minute on Baron, and PWH is doing this interesting dance where it looks like they maybe want to set up for it.
Maybe I don't know if they have the comp to really clear it at 20 minutes. Xayah doesn't have like massive amounts of shred, and while the rest of the team is pretty beefy, they don't really have like super high DPS. So I don't know if they're going to go for it, but I think keeping the Visioner at it, and kind of like keeping TD on their toes is going to be really good, forcing them to use all their wards on that side so they can come back around with this Dragon in 2 minutes. I think keeping also the Herald was a good idea. I don't think there's a reason to drop it in mid lane with how low that turret already was. You're not going to push through to the next turret. No reason just to waste it. And if, you know, Schmeckles can get over here onto this top turret.
Thinks that he's making a good play here. Paz found Bob Joseph instead. There might be room for an engage there. The Q is down. Hube's deciding not to chase there. He was too far away from his team, potentially, just deciding not to go for it. And hey, Schmeckles on this top tower right now. Was kind of concerned about the fact that Mezuzah was kind of just farming up in that bot side unanswered right now. It's kind of the same thing for Schmeckles right now as Leaves has arrived to try and take this fight on. Do they know? Think that I can is sitting in the wings right now. Big CC chain on this set, but he just gore drinkers up and chucks him into turret. This is Schmeckles' zone. Finds that first kill in the 2v1, and it is a shutdown picked up for Zen. But odds stacked against him, Schmeckles finds another.
Schmeckles just so good on this side, and actually, I mean, on this set, and actually, you know, I think it's actually bad that the kill went to the Scion because of how easy Schmeckles has had a time with him. Now he's reset his gold value, so look, now you get full gold every time you kill him. So.
Yeah, it's full value, like you say. Zen, and again, like the stronger Zen gets, it's only going to buff up Schmeckles' ulti, right? You're expecting to see that Scion on the front line. Where else is he going to be? You know, there's only one real front line right now for the side of TDE, and they have a very squishy backline. Bard, Ashe, to an extent, even Kayn. You're not expecting those members to be able to take a lot of damage, and if you suddenly get a 4,000 health Scion chucked into your backline, you take 2,000 true damage, it's gonna hurt. There's not gonna be a team left to try and take that fight right now. Pandas deciding to walk over to this dragon, get that early setup. The Rift Herald was put down there from Schmeckles, who's getting so much pressure in this bot side. And hey, you know what? TDE, late to answer at the moment. They're trying to set up for this Baron. It seems the Herald was blocked on the charge there. Bob Joseph, well played, my friend. Good job shutting that one down right now. And it looks like Pandas with hats is just going to move their way towards this soul point. And we were talking about 20-minute Barons a minute ago. Looks like that's TDE's way back in right now. It's 9k HP right now on this Baron. At the moment, Leaves is taking up quite handedly. They've got the healing in from Mezuzah. Dragon comes up. Pandas, maybe a little bit overcommitted. They did find the play, and they have been able to shut down that Baron. That was a very smart play there from TDE. Even better to sniff it out there from Pandas to shut down, you know, any possible trade back. And here we are. Soul point should be picked up here, unless Bob Joseph has got something planned.
Come on, Bob, you can do it. Nope.
Yeah, no, it is just going to be taken away. And Bob Joseph is actually planning on being the engage target here. Taken very low. The Kale ultimate is already burned. Shut down there. Dr. Schmeckles taken very low. The shield is online. Big face breaker. And look at this backline right now. Mezuzah's getting chunked out and taken down. It is 4v3 at the moment, though. Pandas with hats has lost a few members. Bob Joseph never died in that initial play. Trying to chunk down the Bard is Hubes and does find it, but look at how much Leaves is healing right now. Voltaic Penguin look for a hero play at the moment. So many feathers, but cannot find enough damage to take down Leaves. Ultra Ball flashing forward, and that will be the end of that. Xayah, turn focus on to think that I can. And TDE will take another fight in their favor. They give up the soul point, but they're able to pick up 2,000 gold worth of kills. And maybe that Baron is possible now.
Oh, PWH, it was looking so good. When they jumped on the Bard and he jumps away with the Kale ult, I think at that point you just back out of it. You've gotten a Kale ult out of them. You force them away. You could probably rotate up towards Baron, maybe catch the Kale along the route, but they just keep fighting. They split themselves up. Voltaic Penguin couldn't even get over the wall to help out in that fight. So it's basically a 4v5 the entire time. It just goes so poorly. Schmeckel's just on his own. Once he's down, it's just basically a shooting range for TDE. And the Baron, they've swung this game right back into it. They have finally gotten the gold lead this game, and PWH, they're doing their usual stuff.
Should just continue to grow here. You know, Subarashi has gone for that even shroud, which I think is a great option right here. Your team needs the damage. That's how I see it right now. You have enough front line. Your team needs the damage. That's going to let that Zaya do a lot of additional damage onto all of these members. The same goes for Schmeckles if you can get those big plays. The equalizers could be massive. Right now, Mazuza's looking a little bit caught. I don't know if Mazuza has noticed that. It's just going to be that empowered recall coming in. And we'll get out of there just in time. Mazuza's making it back to base there. But, you know, Panda still has room to win these fights. Obviously, as the game goes later, we're seeing level 14 right now on this Kale. Hitting that level 16 danger zone could be a real problem for Pandas. It could be real easy for Mazuza to just chill out, hit those waves, get that XP rolling in. You hit that level 16, that Kale is going to start shredding through these team fights. So, I think there's still a lot of room for both of these teams to have some mechanical plays at the moment, but I have to agree with you. As this game goes later, it's going to lean in the favor of the team with the Scion and the Kale and the Ashe. It just starts to look better for them. Pandas, though, if they can bring back that momentum and that playmaking, that just smart decision-making that they had in the early stages of this game, they're far from out of it.
Yeah, and I think they're trying to really play around this soul, you know, just to keep themselves alive. I don't think honestly they needed to. I think they could have just kept up the pressure they had earlier in the game, not reason to slow the pace down and just taken more and more. And then once you've cracked the base, then maybe you could go for something. Ooh.
That could be problematic. The Ashe ulti does miss. Enchanted Grid Slayer doesn't come through. Good block there from Subarashi. Ultimates traded between Zenzen and Voltaic Penguin, as it looks like this is going to be the first tower to fall to this Baron. Inner turrets can be pressured very easily. Subarashi going for a big play right now, but this is the downside. You need to hit everyone or hit no one at all there. Falling down there. Big play. Hold on. Can Schmeckles win this one? Mazuza popping the ulti has already gone down. Schmeckles doesn't have the damage. Mazuza picking up that kill solo in the top lane. Two members of Pandas with hats fall down, and this Baron play is going to start to hurt.
Yeah, the Kale is starting to become impossible to deal with in a 1v1. It's getting to that point, and almost level 16, one level away from that point. TDE is just slowly rapidly taking more and more control of this game. They're finally hitting their break points. Their 2 item power spikes have come through, and PWH is really struggling to find a position that they can make a play happen here. They're struggling to find these fights, and now Mazuza can just split push. No one can really match him unless you send the whole team up there, maybe 2 people. And like Subarashi, like I think you just let that turret go.
Subarashi walking into 4 down there. Oh, it was so close. There was so much room for that to go horribly wrong. There's no ultimate available for Qs, no ultimate available for basically all of Pandas there. Just going to be that reset finally taken, as that Baron will time out very soon. And hey, 45 seconds away from Dragon. Pandas with hats have gone from a mediocre gold lead to 6k behind. This is favoring TDE all the way to Sunday right now. They have the gold everywhere that they can want it right now. Mazuza, once again, has just held on and scaled, and now is huge. Think that I can't. Trying to find a play right now, and Bob Joseph, you don't have your team with you. Can start to cause problems, and maybe Think That I Can is going to be the target right now. The Ashe ulti does land. Enchanted Crystal Layer. There's the ultimate from Zenzen on the backline. Just going to solo take on Voltaic Penguin, who has no ultimate to get him out of there. Subarashi will follow up next. Now Cubes having to run away from Bob Joseph. That is 3 members already fallen. And you know what? I don't think this Dragon's going to get any attention. I feel like TDE might try and march this one down, take an inhib or 2.
I just don't think there was any reason to be there. Once you see that there's 2 or 3 people there, there's no reason to go for that pink ward. Just run away, back out. You don't have to fight it, but they go for the pink ward. They pick onto the volley bear. The rest of the team comes to try to save them, and just they lose the 80 carry. They lose the support.
Hold this, but doesn't have that equalizer. Already has to burn flash. He is silenced from the overheat. Ultravox chasing into that turret. I feel like he could pick that one up if he wanted to. Cubes is going to live, get that recall off. This inhib is sitting at half HP, but hold on, you're outnumbered right now. There is room for PWH to turn this, and Dr. Schmecker smells blood. Big face breaker on top of the haymaker, and the first kill is picked up right now. Subarashi falls next, but here comes the damage the other way. Mazuza has evolved, awaken, hit that level 16, and that Kale hurts so bad.
Oh, it was looking like maybe PWH had found a way into it. Oh no, Hubes. Oh.
is it. I think this is just going to be it. I think that PWH had a valiant beginning to this game, but it's looking like TDE has turned this one around. They took their mid-game fights that they needed. They have the scaling comp, and they always seem to find. And TDE pressuring down the Nexus to take the win over Pandas with Hats. And a clean, once again, 29-minute mark.
Yeah, it was looking so good for Panda. Started out, Zurashi trying to do something, but it's over. But good on TD. They held their line. They managed to drag it out to the late game. They punished a misposition from PWH in the bottom side of the map on the jungle, and from there to just continue to push and push and push and push and keep the pressure up. And you know, once again, PWH looking really solid in the early game, but little slip-ups in the mid-game just end up costing them it. You're saying they're so close to being such a strong team. They need to clean up their I say macro almost, like just where they're at and their awareness of the map.
Yeah, just respecting vision.
Yeah,
you know, Schmeckles had a hell of a game there. Schmeckles really did just dominate top lane. I've said, credit him before the game, really dropped the ball. I think That I Can has always been this proactive jungler who's able to make plays for Pandas with Hats, and it just wasn't there this game. And, you know, maybe that's a lack of confidence. This is a scary team to play into, you know? Maybe that's all it is. But Pandas with Hats, like you say, they had that early game. They made some very good plays in the early stages. They got themselves a good gold lead, and then kind of got lost in their own forest, you know? Like, they trailblazed the whole way there, and they got a little bit caught out. And that gave all the time that TDE possibly could have needed. Leaves was able to weather the storm, and Mezuzah and Ultravox came online in a big way in those late sections.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think there's still time. There's still time for PWH to turn things around, to push into the playoffs. They are still very close to that cutoff, so we could still see them make a push. I have faith that this team, you know, we'll see them tomorrow. I think they'll bounce back.
Yeah, but time is what this team needs, I think. And speaking of which, you guys all have a bit of time now in between now and our interview to go and check out the pre-orders available right now on the FOF Esports shop. We've got a bunch of new merch available for you guys if you want to pick something up. But just for free, we're going to give you guys an interview with the reigning winning team, TDE. We'll be back in just a moment.
Buy a pin.
Buy a pin.
C'est à moi que chante tout ça.
Mr. Pham will stay behind, and he will perform one of the most popular pieces of music in Asia, especially in Asian heritage. Scored 999 roses. Let's give him a big round of applause once again for the performance.
Hello folks, Chris Edgeworth here with tonight's final interview, and I'm joined by Ultravox of the victorious Trickle Down Economics. How are you feeling after the win?
Feeling pretty good, you know. Honestly, the win felt great. I think that was our mid laner's first Kale game of the season, so I bet he's pumped as well. We're super hyped to take the W, you know.
Hell yeah, it was a big win for you folks. Let's take a look closer at the draft. What were your thoughts coming into this game with the draft that you folks ended up with and what you're up against, especially considering you had, Mezuzah on the mid lane Kale, amongst other interesting things in this draft?
Yeah, so basically we were just going through ban phase, holding our breath, waiting for Kale to be banned, and then it wasn't, and it was like Jesus shined rays of golden sunlight down through the heavens, and it was finally our mid laner's time to play Kale. He's been waiting the entire season for that. Everybody's been triple banning him, you know, but this was his game. So we knew we probably didn't have to pick that on B1 because it's not very highly contested. Not many other teams play it. We definitely wanted Ashe on B1 because Jinx was banned, and I've been playing absolutely nothing but Ashe for the past week, trying to do the training arc for this. So that was definitely what we wanted to do going into this. They kind of just handed that over to us, so it was pretty good. And then Sion rounded out our first set of picks, just our good old-fashioned pick for our big boy in the top lane. I think for their side, the Xayah was definitely pretty expected. So was the Volibear, Set, and Rel. Also Rumble, definitely things that we didn't really see coming, but we ended up being able to play around it pretty well. Poor Zenzen did get schmecked on though, so a little unfortunate there.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about how this game turned out overall. The speed of the tempo of the kills was not in your folks' favor. But in the end, you know, you folks come out with the dub. What was the overall tenor of the team as you were going through this game? What were people's thoughts as you were able to pull this back?
Yeah, so we basically fully expected Dr. Schmeckles to get at least one solo kill because that is his legacy, of course, right? Also, Set into Sion is just a super good matchup for Set. So it went, you know, worse than expected for sure. We just pretty much stayed calm. We knew we had the Kale in the back pocket, and all we had to do was get Mezuzah to level 16. And as long as we could do that, as long as we could just not lose the game before then we were sure that we could win. We also had a lot of different things waiting to come online, like Kane's red form, which is really important for our team fighting, and then also Ashe being level 6. My arrows were really critical too. Part of the training arc is just consistent Ashe arrow focus from Sensei Mezuzah. He's been teaching me how to do that. So, you know, we knew that if we could just keep hanging on, like everything would fall into place eventually, and then we would just clinch it from there.
All right. Well, Ultravox, thank you so much for this interview. Before we step away, though, for the evening, any final thoughts you'd like to leave with us on the desk?
Yeah, we are not losing for the rest of the season. That's it. Also, stop triple banning our mid laner. You're making him cry every game.
All right, folks. Well, it's just dubs here on out for TDE. That, however, is going to be the end of our broadcast tonight. We're going to take the evening off. We hope you all have a wonderful night as we rejoin with you tomorrow at 4:30 Pacific time for the second set of games for Week 5. That's going to be it for us tonight. On behalf of our teams and on behalf of all the staff to make this possible, we wish you a wonderful night, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow.
Don't you